We grow up learning to show only parts of ourselves, the parts that are praised, accepted, applauded. We smile when expected, suppress anger when inconvenient, hide fear when seen as weakness. Over time, this shaping becomes second nature. We forget there was ever anything else beneath the mask. We become strangers to ourselves, confusing adaptation for authenticity. Our souls shrink to fit the mold of what we think others want us to be. But deep within us, untouched by the layers of conditioning, remains a part that remembers. A part that holds all the vitality, passion, and truth we once had. Carl Jung called this forgotten realm the shadow. Not a flaw in our being, but an essential piece of it. It is not evil by nature. It simply contains everything we abandoned in order to survive. The laughter we stifled, the rage we swallowed, the dreams we let die. The shadow is not the enemy. It is a buried part of your own soul, longing not to destroy you, but to complete you. If you are curious about how this forgotten self affects our relationships, you might enjoy our video on Why We Fall for the Wrong People, Jung's view on the shadow in relationships. Without touching this hidden core, no real self-knowledge is possible. It is like trying to navigate a map where half the territory has been blacked out. Only by turning inward can we begin to see the parts of ourselves that silently shape our lives. The path to wholeness does not lie in denying our darkness, but in reclaiming it. And it all begins with remembering what we have forgotten. The shadow begins to form early in life. As children, we experience a wide range of emotions: rage, jealousy, fear, tenderness, wonder. In our innocence, we express them all freely, without shame. But society teaches us that some feelings are bad. Don't be angry. Don't cry. Don't be weak. Be a good boy. Be a nice girl. To survive, to be loved, we learn to fragment ourselves. We push parts of our experience into the darkness, pretending they don't exist. The more sensitive or strong-willed a child is, the larger the shadow may become. And these suppressed energies don't vanish. They go underground, where they influence our thoughts, feelings, and choices in ways we barely perceive. They can manifest as anxiety, self-sabotage, or emotional numbness. In ignoring them, we not only lose parts of ourselves, we also lose access to incredible vitality and creative force. Jung wrote, "Everyone carries a shadow, and the less it is embodied in the individual's conscious life, the blacker and denser it is. In denying these parts, we don't escape them. We only allow them to control us from the shadows. The more we repress, the more fragmented we become. The more we fragment, the more exhausted we feel. The more exhausted we feel, the more we seek external distractions. This cycle of avoidance only deepens our inner division. True healing begins when we break this cycle by facing what we have hidden. To survive in society, we craft a persona, a mask we wear to meet the expectations of others. The persona allows us to function in the world, to work, to socialize, to fit in. The persona is not inherently bad. It's a necessary adaptation, like clothing appropriate for different seasons. We all need some kind of social identity to navigate the complexities of life. But the danger arises when we identify completely with the mask. When we believe that the carefully curated image we present to the world is all that we are. We edit ourselves so thoroughly that we no longer remember what was edited out. We perform roles: the successful professional, the dutiful parent, the charming friend. and mistake these roles for our true selves. Underneath the surface, the shadow grows restless. The parts of ourselves we disown begin to seep through, in unexpected anger, in deep dissatisfaction, in the feeling that life itself has become hollow. We begin to sense that there is something missing, but often cannot name what it is. The answer lies not outside of us, but in the hidden basement of the psyche. In our attempt to be everything others want, we abandon what we truly are. The price of belonging becomes the loss of self, but the good news is, what is abandoned can be reclaimed. Every false self eventually cracks, revealing the raw truth beneath. And that truth, no matter how messy, is sacred. Facing the shadow is not an intellectual exercise. It is a deep, often painful journey into the unknown regions of your own psyche. It means admitting to feelings you would rather deny. Envy, resentment, rage, cruelty, despair. It means acknowledging that you are not always noble, kind, wise, or in control. And that's okay. Being human is not about perfection. It is about embracing complexity. Facing the shadow often begins with small signs: irrational anger, intense dreams, recurring conflicts. They are messengers, not malfunctions. It takes immense courage to look honestly at yourself without flinching. It takes compassion to hold your brokenness without judgment. But in doing so, you reclaim immense energy. Because whatever is repressed robs you of vitality. Each time you integrate a piece of your shadow, you become more whole, more real, more alive. Jung described it beautifully. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The journey is neither quick nor linear. Some days you will feel you have moved forward, others, you will feel pulled back. But every honest encounter with yourself plants seeds of transformation. Over time, the darkness becomes less terrifying and more revealing. You realize it was not trying to destroy you, but to wake you up. You encounter your shadow every time you are triggered beyond reason. Every time you find yourself harshly judging someone else. Every time you act in a way you later don't recognize. Perhaps you pride yourself on being patient, yet erupt in fury at a small slight. Perhaps you value kindness, yet secretly harbor cruel thoughts toward a rival. Perhaps you see yourself as independent, yet find yourself manipulating others to get approval. These contradictions are not proof that you are broken. They are invitations to wholeness. They point to places where your true self was once wounded, hidden, or distorted. Often, what we dislike most in others is a reflection of something unacknowledged in ourselves. The person who irritates you might be mirroring your own disowned traits. If you have the courage to look inward instead of outward, every irritation becomes a doorway to deeper understanding. It is not easy to accept that the seeds of everything we judge out there also live within us. But it is precisely through this difficult realization that we grow in empathy for others and for ourselves. As we explored in our video, Finding Your True Purpose, Carl Jung's Guide to Self-Discovery, real growth begins when you turn inward and face the parts you were taught to fear. The next time you feel judgment arise, pause. Ask yourself, what part of me is being shown to me right now? The answer may be uncomfortable, but it will be profoundly liberating. By owning our projections, we reclaim lost fragments of our soul. And with each act of ownership, we become more integrated, more alive. The shadow is not made only of darkness. It contains precious gold as well. Qualities like creativity, passion, assertiveness, strength, and intuition are often suppressed along with the negative traits. Many people exile their brilliance because it made them too much for others, or bury their fire because it threatened the fragile peace around them. When you reconnect with your shadow, you do not merely face your weaknesses. You rediscover your lost powers. You uncover a fierceness that protects your boundaries, an imagination that enlivens your dreams, a tenderness that deepens your connections with others. The shadow hides not only your rage, but your radiance, not only your fear, but your fire. Every disowned quality carries a gift waiting to be reclaimed. Often our deepest callings, to create, to lead, to love more boldly, are buried within the very traits we once rejected. The journey into the dark is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming more fully yourself. Imagine how much beauty and brilliance the world loses when people suppress their true essence. Imagine how much power is locked away in the corners of shame and fear. Your gold is hidden where you least want to look, but once found, it shines brighter because it was earned, and once integrated, it blesses not only you, but everyone you touch. How does one begin to work with the shadow? Not through violence or force, but through compassion and curiosity. The shadow cannot be beaten into submission. It must be understood. You start by observing your reactions without judgment. Notice what stirs anger, shame, or defensiveness in you. Ask yourself, what am I protecting? What part of myself feels threatened? Pay attention to recurring patterns in your life, especially painful ones. They often point to unresolved aspects of the shadow. You listen to your dreams, your fantasies, your slips of the tongue. The unconscious is always whispering. You only need to learn to listen. Every intense emotional response is an opportunity. Every projection onto others is a mirror. Every painful pattern is a signpost pointing you toward healing. Shadow work is not a linear process. It is a spiral. You return again and again to the same wounds, each time with greater wisdom and compassion. Over time, you begin to see that the parts you feared most are simply asking to be loved back into wholeness. Be gentle with yourself. This is not a race. It is a slow unfolding. There will be days when progress feels invisible, and that is part of the path. Celebrate the small moments of awareness. They are seeds of profound change. And remember, in facing your darkness, you are reclaiming your light. Across cultures, the hero's journey always involves descent into darkness. In mythology, the hero must enter the underworld, face monsters, retrieve a treasure, and return transformed. These are not just entertaining stories. They are psychological maps. In Christianity, Christ descends into hell before resurrection. In ancient Sumerian myth, Inanna, the goddess, descends into the underworld, is stripped of her powers, and rises renewed. In Greek myth, Orpheus journeys to the underworld for his lost love, risking everything. These stories teach us that growth requires sacrifice, that before we can rise, we must fall, that the treasure we seek is guarded by the fears we are unwilling to face. Every myth of descent echoes the same truth. Transformation requires confrontation. Without facing the shadow, we cannot claim the fullness of our being. The monsters we fear are aspects of ourselves, distorted by fear and longing. When we approach them with courage and compassion, they often dissolve into allies. This is the secret wisdom encoded in myths across time and cultures. And this is the same inner journey we walk today, each in our own way, each in our own heart. In every descent, we are stripped of our illusions. In every descent, we find what truly matters. And in every return, we carry a deeper, richer light. Our pain, once integrated, becomes our greatest offering. And our courage to walk the dark path becomes a beacon for others. The goal of life is not to become perfect, it is to become whole. To hold within yourself the full range of what it means to be human. Light and dark, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. Jung wrote, "Wholeness is not achieved by cutting off a portion of one's being, but by integration of the contraries." You are not here to erase your flaws. You are here to integrate them, to learn from them, to become deeper, richer, more alive. Your light needs your darkness, just as the sky needs both day and night. When you embrace your shadow, you do not become worse. You become real. You become someone who can walk with humility, strength, and compassion for yourself and for others. There is no need to aspire to a flawless existence. There is beauty in the cracks, wisdom in the scars. Your humanity, in all its rawness, is not a flaw to fix. It is a miracle to honor. Life is richer when we allow space for all its contradictions. And you are richer when you welcome all parts of yourself home. There is wisdom in your anger. There is power in your fear. There is beauty in your brokenness. The parts you were taught to fear or reject are not obstacles to your growth. They are the very keys to it. Your darkness is not an enemy. It is a teacher. It asks you not to conquer it, but to listen. Not to suppress it, but to understand. Not to exile it, but to invite it home. The power of the shadow is the power of becoming whole, by facing, embracing, and integrating all that you are. The journey is not easy, but it is profoundly worth it. Because in the end, the parts of yourself you feared most may become the parts you love most. And through this transformation, you discover a deeper truth. You are not broken, you are becoming. If you found something valuable in today's reflection, consider liking this video. It helps more souls find their way to this space. And if you wish to continue exploring the art of inner growth, don't forget to subscribe to The Art of Being. Your journey inward has only just begun.